Today on The American Land Seller, we are joined by Justin Osborn, a true trailblazer in the world of land brokerage. Originally hailing from the heart of Texas, Justin made his mark in Durango, Colorado back in 1999. With a bachelor's degree in business administration and an emphasis in marketing, along with a minor in agribusiness from Fort Lewis College, Justin set the stage for a thriving career in real estate. Justin secured his real estate license while still a junior in college, and his journey took him through 7 successful years at Coldwell Banker Heritage House Realtors. Since joining the Wells Group in 2010, he's consistently been a top producer, earning accolades like America's Top 100 recognition, RealTrends Award, and the coveted Apex Award from the Realtors Land Institute. What sets Justin apart is not just his impressive list of awards, but also his commitment to education. A national real estate instructor, Justin shares his experience in Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, and Illinois, focusing on classes like recreational land, Land 101, and transitional land through the Realtors Land Institute. But Justin's influence extends beyond the classroom. He currently sits the board for the Colorado chapter of the Realtors Land Institute and is actively involved at the national level, chairing committees on future leaders and chapter development task force. Outside the world of real estate, Justin is deeply rooted in his community. From coaching his son's soccer team to serving as past president of the Durango High Noon Rotary Club, his impact is felt far and wide. Recognized as a Volunteer of the Year by both the Durango Area Association of Realtors and the Wells Group, Justin's commitment to his community service is truly commendable. Join us as we unravel the journey of a man who not only excels in the real estate realm, but also leaves an indelible mark on the community he serves. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts for an inspiring episode with the one and only Justin Osborn, the Colorado Land Realtor of the Year. And as always, we hope you take something from this episode.
Welcome to the American Land Seller Podcast with your host, Kobe Rickertson. Kobe is an accredited land consultant and multi-state land broker with American Legacy Land Company. Join us each week as we explore all things land. We bring you fresh insights and expert guests on sales, marketing, regulations, economics, and so much more. Visit www.americanlandseller.com and find us on one of your favorite podcast platforms.
Okay, Kobe and our special guests, let's get started.
Hey everybody, we're back here with Justin Osborn from the Wells Group, a big real estate company in Durango, Colorado. Justin, I'm always fascinated by how people get into this industry. I jokingly say that most people, that are in the real estate world didn't, jump up in 3rd grade and start being excited about becoming a real estate agent. So how did you kind of started pretty young, if I remember right. Like, how did you get into this business?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't quite 3rd grade, but I think it was probably middle school where I started getting excited about it. Seriously though, I think I was in middle school when my mother got her real estate license. And so I kind of grew up, the latter part of my years when I was still at home in the industry. My dad was a custom home builder. He built custom homes in Rockwall and Heath, Texas, just right outside of Dallas. My mom, to this day, is still a very successful realtor with Ebby Halliday. She's won all kind of awards and recognitions and been in D Magazine. And I mean, it's pretty cool seeing everything she's doing down there in the Dallas area. But I was just around it, pretty much middle school through high school. I moved up here to Durango and went to college. And my junior year of college, I decided to get my real estate license. So I got my real estate license, I guess it'd be 22, 23 years ago. So yeah, I've been doing it a while, but that's how it all happened. It was just kind of being in the industry with my dad being a builder and my mom being a realtor that I decided, I got this marketing degree that I'm just about to graduate with. And I think this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life.
That's very cool. I was talking to a daughter of one of our agents the other day. We were at an expo and she's just graduating high school. And she says, so I was asking her, I was like, what's your what's your goals? Like, what do you want to be? And she's like, I'm going to get into real estate with my dad after I graduate college. And I said, you should get your license while you're going to college, because our industry is based on like longevity. And so if you graduate college and you've been selling real estate for 4 years, while you were in college, then you've already got 4 years of experience. Where if you've been building your brand and stuff like that for 4 years, and her dad was laughing. He says that was a long ride home after the expo. Because I think he created a monster. So, but anyway, so that's kind of fun though. That you kind of got exposed to that when you were young, and then kind of both sides of it, the home building side and the actual sales side of it. How'd you get hooked up with the Wells Group? I mean, was it tempting for you to just be like, hey, I can create my own business, and so like, did you help create it, or did you just join it and they're a great group and you fit in well, or like how'd that all work out?
Sure. Yeah. Happy to talk about that. So, no, I didn't create it at all. It was very, very successful company. Started back in 1984 or 1985, I believe. So it's been around for a very long time. But no, I was working at another company here in Durango, nationally known, recognized company, and it was great. I left there on really good terms. But it was kind of one of those deals where there was a lot of, what's the word? There was a lot of publicity coming from national and the national recognition of working with a franchise. And, man, I'm just not a corporate guy. And so the corporate model did not fit very well for me. The local owned model fit very, very nicely. I was involved in a lot of nonprofits back in the day, and I still am now, but I was involved in more, before I was married and had kids. And I started noticing a common theme where every time we went to like a Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquet or a Ducks Unlimited banquet or a golf tournament, it was like Wells Group here, Wells Group there. Wells Group sponsored this table, Wells Group sponsored this hole. And nothing against the company that I was with. It was more of a corporate national model, and they weren't invested in the community like the Wells Group was. And the community is obviously, what made me the realtor that I am today. And I wanted to be with a company that gave back to the community in the way the Wells Group does. And so that's how I got here, man. And I've been here for, I think, 13 years now.
Well, that's great. And that's, like my wife and I recently went through like we had to kind of figure out what we wanted to be when we grew up. And so we went through part of last year on, looking at different business models. And we were with a franchise, owned our own franchises, but we were with a franchise. And so, there's something to be said about that, that local touch, or that, because people are wanting to build back the communities and stuff like that. Whereas some of the more worldwide models are more about do it yourself, we'll give you the other stuff. You figure out how to touch your community on your own. So that's really, really cool. What made you you're from Texas. How'd you get to, was it college, or how'd you get to Durango, Colorado?
Yeah, exactly. So it was college. I was the first Osborn to ever go to college, and so we couldn't afford big colleges when I was graduating high school, and had full support of my parents on saying, "Yeah, man, we're behind you, but we can't afford to send you out of state tuition to a big school." So I started looking at smaller schools. I loved Texas, loved growing up in Texas, but man, I just could not handle the heat. Spent a lot of time in North Texas and southeastern Oklahoma, and it was great when I was there. Still have a ton of family down there, but I was a mountain guy, man. I mean, the first time we came camping in Colorado up in the mountains in the summertime, I just fell in love with it. And I think at the time I was like 15 years old. We're waking up, putting on a fleece and, putting on gloves, sleeping in a beanie, and it's July. I'm like, why in the world are we going back to like 115-degree weather? This is crazy. But my parents had their businesses, obviously, in Texas. And so it was great for that stage of life for me. But I started looking at the smaller schools and was like, man, I want to live in the mountains. I want to go to school in the mountains. I want to go play in the mountains. I want to elk hunt. I want to fly fish. I want to go skiing. And Durango just had one of the best 4-year colleges. Their business department, I should say, was one of the best 4-year colleges in the country. Not to be confused with the big universities, but for 4-year colleges, Fort Lewis College here in Durango at the time was one of the top 5 in the United States. And when I saw that for their business department, it's like, man, that's tempting. And narrowed it down to Fort Lewis College in Durango and Western State College in Gunnison, both 2 small mountain towns. And I'll never forget, I was sitting at home in Rockwall, and on the Weather Channel that morning, it showed the coldest place in the United States, Gunnison, Colorado, negative 30 degrees. Like, well, that made my decision real quick that I was not moving to Gunnison. So that's how I ended up here, man.
That's super. That was super helpful information because I think like a few weeks ago here in Nebraska, it was like minus 20, and that's brutal. It's just not fun to be out in that. But so you're a huge family guy. I know your kids are involved sometimes in like I know one of the classes that I took from you. You were talking about your drone photographer was one of your kids, and so like like is there any future Osborns going to be coming alongside you in the real estate world, or just how's that family work balance for you?
Yeah, first question, future Osborns in the real estate world. I obviously hope so. But man, I wouldn't be surprised if both of my kids ended up somewhere else. I mean, you know how it is when you grow up in a small mountain town, you want to get out and go see the world. So, my son right now is talking about going down to Baylor in Waco, Texas, where my brother works. And my daughter's talking about kind of leaning towards Montana State up in Bozeman. Talk about cold.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they'll end up, but no, right now they're both on the get me out of this small town phase. Uh, but your second question was, sorry, remind me, what was it again?
Just to, like, how do you do the work? Because in our industry, it's really easy to be, like to just become all encompassed with your career. How do you
Yeah.
balance the time with the family and then making sure that you're giving as much as you can to your clients?
Man, that's a great topic, Kobe. I'll start by saying I learned the hard way. I screwed up early on, man. In my marriage, commission job, phone rang, I answered it. It didn't matter if we were having dinner, didn't matter if we were walking into church. It was, hey, you're a school teacher, sweetie, making whatever it was, $25,000-$30,000 a year back then. I'm a new realtor. We're in our 20s, and I'm answering that phone when it rings. And man, that was a huge mistake. It took a toll on my marriage, and so I'll say that I learned the hard way. We put some barriers up, found some boundaries, and then that got all taken care of. But then I tell you what, COVID, man, it wrecked my world. It was great for our industry in that every single listing we had, started flying off the shelf. But when COVID hit, I was carrying 70 listings, and a lot
Oh,
of them were rural properties out in the middle of nowhere, everything that every person in the city wanted to buy as soon as we had that mandatory shutdown lifted. And so, COVID, same thing, man, 14, 16-hour days. It wasn't healthy. Since then, we found some boundaries, found a balance. I've got a wonderful assistant. She's been with me for over 7 years now. So between her and my wife that handles a lot of the admin behind the scenes, I tell you, those 2 women make me look really good, Kobe, so that I can do stuff like this. I can go teach classes, I can go ski, I can go meet clients and network in the community, and I'm not coming back to 30 voicemails, 50 emails. They're filtering through what needs to be tackled admin wise, and then they're saying, all right, here's the 5 people you need to call back. Here's the 10 emails you need to tackle. And so I've kind of created this little team that just really does a good job on making me look good.
yeah, that's incredible. Like my wife and I both are in real estate. She's got her own business that she has really, really grown into like a monster. But like we have been really sacred on the calendar, like so everything goes into a calendar, including boating on Saturday or whatever. And so I can, with a straight face, if a client calls me and says, "Hey, can you show this property on this time on Saturday?" I can say, "Man, I'm booked for that day, but how about Friday, or how about Monday, or how about whatever?" And so it's kind of been one of those things where just working that calendar has helped our relationship. So kind of very similar, putting those boundaries in place and some of the stuff that needs to be sacred, keeping it sacred.
Yeah, there's
But
some great episodes, podcast episodes on time blocking. And man, I would encourage your listeners, if anybody struggles with that, to go find some of those from, some of the top business professionals out there, because it is important, man. I mean, putting date nights on the calendar with your wife, like you said, Saturday boating, it doesn't matter what it is. It's no, I've already got a prior appointment that day, but I can get you in this day. And most of our clients seem to respect it, appreciate it. COVID was a little different, because if you couldn't drop what you were doing to show a property, then it was getting 5 other offers from other agents. But now I think we're kind of back at that balanced market where it's taken 3 to 5 months to sell properties, and I don't mind that, man. I'm kind of enjoying having balance again back in my life.
well, and like that's the thing I think in our industry, it's really easy to get this in your head that I've got to just kill myself right now because I may never sell another house after this wave's over. When the reality is that's not sustainable. Like that there's always going to be somebody wanting to buy a property. It's just a matter of building your business in a way that you're in the top, tier of of uh, of the industry. But hey, let's take a quick break, Justin. And you got one more segment in you, bud? Or are you busy today?
Oh, I'm here for you, man. Happy to talk as long as you think we're educating people.
Yeah, nope. I think if we'll come back, we'll talk just some about the Realtors Land Institute, something we're both big into. So, but yep, we will be right back. The American Land Seller Podcast is brought to you in part by LandHub.com. Join us today and experience the expertise of LandHub's land marketing professionals. Whether you're buying or selling, let us show you the way in the ever-evolving world of land transactions. Visit LandHub.com and discover what the future of land marketing looks like. LandHub.com, where your land journey begins. All right, we're back with Justin Osborn from the Wells Group in Durango, Colorado. Justin, I'm actually in, I know people are probably, that can see this on YouTube, can see that I do not have my office in my background like I normally do. I'm across the street at a hotel today out at Legislative Days in Lincoln, talking to our legislators about the stuff that's important to real estate. I know that, being a part of these organizations, like I'm working with RPAC today, the Realtors Party, but Realtors Land Institute is one that you and I are both involved in. Talk a little bit about, first of all, how did you get involved with the Realtors Land Institute? And then maybe why you kind of have that as kind of one of the top things that to support.
Sure. Yeah, happy to do that. Well, I guess it goes back about 11 or 12 years now. There was a big ranch auction that was a couple thousand acres that was being broken up into different parcels. And George Clift, his company out of Amarillo, Texas, they were the ones handling the auction. And I didn't know who they were at the time. George, he came into my office and looked me up and saw that I was selling more land than anybody in Southwest Colorado, and said, "Man, you need to be part of this organization. It'll make you a better land agent." And I was young, I was cocky, I was arrogant. Like, man, what are you talking about? Like, I'm already selling 10 times more land than any of my competition. I don't need to be part of your organization. Like, what are you talking about? And it was I wasn't rude to him by any means, but I have a tendency to kind of be sarcastic and smart aleck, and so I was. And so I threw it out at him, and he said, just come to this auction with me and watch what we do. And man, Kobe, it was eye opening. Like, you know, I wish George was still around so I could let that man know how much him walking into my office that day and getting me involved in RLI has changed my life, changed my path in this industry, and created lifelong friendships for my family and my kids. But unfortunately, I never got a chance to tell him that before he passed. But it was George Clift that got me into the organization, and he kind of took me under his wing. He was a great mentor to me, and man, I owe him so much. But yeah, RLI, the Realtors Land Institute. It's not for everybody, that's for sure. But anybody that wants to kind of have an all tides rise mentality and see their competitors and them rise to a level that just smokes 99.9% of the competition for the realtors that are out there. RLI's that organization. I mean, anybody can go do like a 3 or 4 hour Zoom class and get a few letters after their name on their business card by saying they've got this accreditation. But to become an accredited land consultant, it's 104 hours of continuing education. I mean, it's not easy. And then you've got these, millions of dollars of volume that you've got to meet for selling land. It's not just, hey, I wrote my check, I want to be part of the organization. It's you have to earn your way in. And I respect that because we're so much in this industry now where everybody gets an award. Everybody's an MVP. There's no losers. And RLI is not quite like that. Like if you're in it for the wrong reasons, we're going to weed you out real quick.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you should say that too, because like, man, you'll have people that, like everybody's all smiles and hugs, but I tell you what, those guys are competing, like they are, it's like they want to win the Apex Award for this or that or whatever, they don't, it's like, it's a very fun competition, but there's definitely competition there. But,
well, there is. Yeah, there's definitely competition, but I mean, at least in Colorado, man, we are so fortunate to have one of the best chapters in the country where we work together. And when I was at the other brokerage firm I was with before the Wells Group, it was super cutthroat, man. I mean, even in the same office, it was, no, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to answer your questions about water rights or mineral rights or survey. Like, you need to go figure that out on your own. And not like that at all here at the Wells Group, and not like that at all in RLI. And, going back to what we were talking about earlier with the co-listing, one big successful ranch brokerage company out in the West, they had a client in Pagosa Springs, and the client in Pagosa Springs wanted this big ranch company to represent them and list their property. And they brought me in as a co-listing agent saying, yeah, we've got the national marketing power. We're known as one of the biggest, best ranch companies in the country, but we can't drop what we're doing and go show that ranch on 48-hour notice. So they reached out to me and we co-listed it, and it was a big ranch, Valley View Ranch. It was on the cover of National Geographic. I mean, the place was gorgeous. But two competitors from two different companies, we came together, worked side by side to represent the client's best interest, and we got that ranch sold in record time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's like so many stories I know like that, where people have worked together. There's actually an award, right? There's an ALC to ALC award, like for the biggest deal that two people got together and did together. But yeah, no, like, and I mean, I just think, the connections that you have, like I could call you up and say, Justin, I'm going through this. What do you think? When I was going through changing my company, I called a bunch of my friends that, that own their own stuff or whatever, that would have that advice for me that I really, really needed, when we were going through stuff. So yeah, just a great group of people. But you're an educator, right? So you teach a couple of classes for them. I'm always jealous, like, because I did not do the boot camp thing. I didn't go through like the rigorous 8-day class schedule and get all my classes done in a one time. But man, I tell you, to watch the classes that went together, that get back together at at the bar or whatever, or at lunch or whatever. It's just like, man, those guys have like a super connection in the industry. being a part of those classes, I'm going to start this year. I just got done certifying as a land instructor, so I'm going to start teaching this year. But talk about that connection with your students. That's how we met, actually. I think was at one of your classes. I think we, but
yeah. I think I was teaching in Wyoming, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if it was transitional.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah, was it transitional land or recreational?
Transitional land. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's great, man. I mean, you're in these classes, you're with people there that want to learn. And I think that's the big difference with RLI is, all realtors are required to do certain continuing education credits. And, I don't want to be one of those instructors that's in a mandatory class with students that are in the back, sending text messages and not paying attention. And being an instructor that's in, what we're teaching is 16-hour classes. It's 2 8-hour days that are completely full. And it's people that want to be there. It's not, all right, let's go through each PowerPoint and I'm going to turn my back to the room. It's let's actually have some dialogue and some communication about what you're seeing in the industry. And man, there's not a class I've taught, Kobe, that I didn't walk away from there learning something from the students. Like every time I'm taking notes, I'm like, wait, what's that app, or what's that tool you're using for marketing, or hold on, say that line again that you were just talking about when you're in a multiple offer situation. Like I love the students that are in these classes because they want to be there, and so they're willing to share.
Like honestly, there isn't one class that it wasn't one of the top people in our industry that wasn't teaching it. Like I did Land 101 with Randy Hertz from the Hertz.
Yeah.
Walk into the room and you're like, and he's like, yeah, over there on the deal, take whatever you want. That's all our collateral that we use. Like anything you want, steal it. Like, looking around for where's the camera? Like, this can't be real. Like, why would he do that? But then as he was going through the class, he was like stopping and writing down like, oh, this guy said this app needs, like I'm going to check that out. And, and so he was learning from us as we were learning from him. But yeah, no, and like I said, though, there's top quality people. I'm not just saying that because they let me in. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but
I heard we were getting desperate for instructors. So.
You must be, that's for sure. But no, it's an incredible program, and again, like when I was looking at how can I give back to this organization that's done a lot for me, that was one of the things that I thought. I do not want to sift through ALC packets and train. That's not my deal. And as long as they don't make me teach the what is it? I can't think of the one where it's the longest one we have.
Yeah, the one with all the math.
Yeah, that one. As long as I don't have to teach that one, Phil McGinnis can keep that. I don't need.
That would be land investment analysis.
Yeah, investment analysis. It was just coming to me, but
yeah,
I'm thinking of changing the name to the one with all the math. But.
There you go. You said something though that I want to reiterate, and that was how did you say it? Like I wanted to know how I could give back. Yeah. And man, I think that's the beauty of all of our instructors at RLI is we all want to serve, and we all want to say, look, I learned this the hard way. If I can help you from learning it the hard way and prevent you from making the same mistakes that I made, then man, let me do that. And that's so rare for our industry. And so I just props to all of our RLI instructors that do that. And I tell you, anybody listening here, we're just a couple weeks out, I think, from National Land Conference that's going to be in Louisville. And anybody that hasn't registered, man, that's going to be the place to be. You want to see some of the top, like super successful yet incredibly humble realtors in the country. Come to National Land Conference in Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be the second week of March. I think it starts around March 10th. And I look forward to seeing you, man. I'll buy you a drink, give you a cheers, and say welcome to being a new instructor.
I was going to say, we got to be there the 8th for instructor training, so it's going to be a long week, but I tell you what, it goes quick. And it's
now you know the rule for instructor training. That's Saturday.
What?
as the rookie, right after lunch, you're the one that's got to show up with the case of beer right after lunch.
I can handle that. I better have people start sending me their requests now so that we can get them in. No, but that I look forward to that because just the people I know that are going to be at that are just phenomenal. Like they are some of the top folks that do what we do. So, Justin, parting shots for people. I mean, I know you're doing I highly recommend everybody go look up the Voices of Land, the RLI podcast. Super great information. We've had some of the guests, I guess, that you have over the years, but man, just a fresh approach. I tell you what, I sent that one of that you did with the guy from Florida about the fraud stuff to all of my residential agents, and just because that was such great information that you guys had. So definitely check you out on that. How else can people get a hold of you if they're looking to spend a bunch of money in Colorado?
Oh man, I'm one of those guys that's easy to find if you want to spend money. You can just type in my name, Justin Osborn, on Google, and I'll pop up, and you can find me on, my website, Instagram, Facebook, any of that stuff on social media. I am easily accessible.
Yeah. Nope. And you just you have to use that. I'm wanting to spend a lot of money to get past the gatekeepers that you talked about earlier. So I think that's how I got booked on this show is pretending like I was a lead needing to.
No, man, I tell you what, like I know we're joking here, but that's one thing I'll end with is talking to the newer agents. Never get too big for your own britches, man. It doesn't matter if people are buying a $20,000 lot or a $20 million ranch, they get the same level of service from us. And so I strongly encourage especially the younger, newer agents. You never know who that $20,000 lot buyer has as a brother or as a cousin or as an uncle that may want to turn around and buy that next $2 million home or $20 million ranch. And so do not cut your services for the level of deal that it is my advice.
Yep. Don't. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing advice. Is both sides. You're worth what you're worth, and that's one side of it. But you also you're only as good as your last deal. So, but thanks so much for doing this, brother. I appreciated having you on. We got to laugh a little bit. Looking forward to seeing you. What the Coors Light? Is that what you people in Colorado drink?
No, we got all these microbreweries, man. We're more high maintenance than Coors Light. We need that like 6-7% alcohol content, not that 3.2.
Geez. Well, I don't know, like whatever's legal in Kentucky, I suppose is what we're drinking. Anyway, but I appreciate you being on, taking the time, and we will see you all down the road.
As we wrap up another episode of the American Land Seller Podcast, thank you for joining us. Visit www.americanlandseller.com and find us on one of your favorite podcast platforms. If you would be so kind and you enjoyed today's insights, please like, subscribe, rate, follow, and review us on whatever app you are listening or watching on. Connect with us on social media for updates. Until next week, Kobe wishes you success in your land endeavors. God bless you and have a great week.
The American Land Seller Podcast is brought to you in part by LandHub.com. At LandHub, we're revolutionizing land transactions by effectively connecting buyers and sellers. Say goodbye to the struggle of finding or marketing land for sale. We understand the power of new media marketing, leveraging social media, and targeted ads to bring together the ideal audience for all property types. LandHub.com, where your land journey begins. And American Legacy Land Company. At American Legacy, we redefine excellence in real estate. Explore our top quality offerings featuring farms, ranches, recreational properties, and even development projects spanning 10 Midwest states. Visit us at AmericanLegacyLandCo.com for a premium experience that aligns with your land ownership goals. Whether you're looking at buying or selling, we're dedicated to helping you find the land that defines your legacy.